Hello, my name's Leah, and I'm going to be presenting on the recent Cape Town water crisis. So to give you a little bit of background on the Cape Town water crisis, after a 3-year drought in Cape Town, South Africa, which lasted from about 2014 until 2017, the city faced the reality of becoming the first major city in the world to completely run out of water. This day was dubbed Day Zero. On Day Zero, defined as the day when the dam levels fell below 13.5% capacity, almost all municipal taps would be cut off and residents would have to get their water from one of 200 designated water stations around the city. In order to avoid Day Zero, the city employed several approaches, one of which being that the city enacted Level 6B water restrictions of 50 liters of water per person per day, which is the equivalent of about a 6-minute shower. Another strategy that the city employed was desalination plants. They constructed 3 small desalination plants for the city, which would produce a combined volume of 8 million liters of water per day. There are a number of advantages to desalination, specifically within Cape Town. It can provide augmented water supplies that are not affected by drought, unlike the surface water supplies, which is the city's main water source. Seawater is plentifully available, unlike groundwater, which is the city's secondary source and is currently being pumped at an unregulated rate. Seawater is also closely available, so transportation costs are minimal, unlike other proposals for cross-basin water transfers. And desalination does not require approval from those in neighboring provinces nor the national government, limiting governance challenges to the local level. However, there are a lot of challenges and weaknesses of desalination. One is that desalination is dependent on the electrical grid. Additionally, the 3 plants that were built produce a small amount of water, only about 1.5% of the city's daily water use, and this doesn't consider the surrounding rural areas that also use the dam's water supplies. There's high upfront costs in construction. The 3 small desalination plants were constructed using money from increased water tariffs paid for by citizens, but these tariffs are too high and thus unsustainable for residents to continue paying. The city's water department has already accrued a lot of debt and has limited resources for future infrastructure investment. And finally, with the water crisis, many of the city's poorest, specifically those 1 million people living in informal settlements, were most affected by the crisis. However, current desalination plans will do little to increase their access to water or improve their water rights, and thus desalination does nothing to address the equity issues that are present in Cape Town and South Africa. So what was the outcome of these desalination plants? Well, they provided some augmented water supplies into the system, and thankfully, with these augmented water supplies, extreme water conservation, and plentiful summer rains, Day Zero was averted. But with rain levels still below average and climate change on the horizon, long-term changes must be put into place in order to maintain the water supply for the city. How will the city take steps forward to prevent a Day Zero in the future? Were these desalination plants really a success, or were they a failure? Overall, the desalination plants do seem to be a success. They did what they were supposed to do in providing a small amount of water to the overall water system. They also did not provide a large burden on the electrical grid. However, many have argued that the extreme conservation of city residents was the real success in averting Day Zero, not desalination or other attempted augmented water initiatives. Moving forward, though, long-term strategies have to be put into place. Residents do not want to remain on extreme water constrictions with high tariffs forever, and even with the recently relaxed restrictions, now up to 70 liters of water per person per day as of October 1st, citizens are still quite strained in their water use. One of the long-term proposed solutions for the city of Cape Town is a large-scale desalination plant. Though these prototypes seem to be successful and show that desalination can exist in Cape Town, a larger plant may have a much bigger impact on the electrical grid and may not be able to supply a sufficient amount of water to offset the impending droughts. A detailed cost-benefit analysis should be employed before the city decides whether increasing their water supply through desalination is the best approach for future water management. Thank you.